Oh, there we go.
I gotta do Eric's.
It's like.
Man, all right, another masterclass. You guys already know we try to bring the most value that we can to any training or meeting. We never want anybody to drive all the way from their comfy of their own house or staying home and getting to the office. So we want to make sure we always bring super value and bring relevant info. But we found that, like, just talking to a lot of just people out there, like, man, it's having somebody that's just like you, coaching and training things that you're trying to do and learn from, it's so much better versus like somebody else that's already been doing it, or like me or Daisy or just like another coach, or like it's just when you have somebody else that's like on the same exact level as you guys and like just showing off like what they're doing and how they're doing things, it just it relates a little bit better, and you guys can actually like take some of that information and go do it on your own. Like that's the thing about going to these meetings and these trainings and these events that we keep going to. Miami has EXPCon this week, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's literally, you're just gonna, like, you see these big wigs. Like, you see them on social media, you see them on stage, and then like, after, we call it LobbyCon, because they have the conference, but then the lobby is actually where the conference is, because that's where you're like actually mingling and talking to these people that are up on stage, and you just realize how normal they are. Like, nobody's different than anybody else. So I think that's the same thing. It's like, dude, Hector is not a Superman. He's not anybody like
definitely not.
He's not anybody like different than who anybody else could be. You know what I mean? And like, so he jumped over. How many sales did you do before you hopped over with us?
Yeah, so like this is actually my second year in the industry. I was with a smaller team based out of like South Napa, American Canyon. Literally just like four people on the team.
Yeah.
My first year, I got like 6-7 deals.
Okay.
The whole year, and I was like their top producer. Yeah, I mean this year so far, just in this month, I got like that amount of deals in just 1 month.
Yeah. So in like a month, he did almost the same amount of what he did
in the whole year.
So it's just, dude, what you put in is what you get out, right? There's no secret science to this, but there's levels, and we talked about that. Like there's levels. It's a game that we're playing, and it's like, it's like a video game. You got to get to the boss, and you got to beat that boss, and you got to get to this boss, and you got to beat that boss, and at the end, it's so it's the same exact thing. Like the first boss is like just learning how to meet with somebody, right? So you understand that game, and now once you learn how to meet with them, now it's like you get to that next boss, which is now you got to get them pre-approved out there shopping and looking at homes and motivated and get them even writing offers, right? That third boss is educating them. Educating clients and educating listing agents to get them to take your offers. And like this game is not easy. That's probably the most challenging one, but once you learn that one, it's game over. Because now you could just, like, all you got to keep doing is the first 3 ones, and it's just a turnover, because you're just going to keep getting more and more people into deals and faster, and all you're going to need to do is just keep meeting more people. And so, like, that's, like, but beating multiple offers and just getting offers accepted and just the strategy and the game behind that is definitely an art. And so, why not bring somebody up that's gotten 5 over the last 30 days? So, go ahead, Hector. Let's take this on, man.
Oh, man. Thank you, guys. First of all, I mean, imposter syndrome is real. I definitely feel it. I mean, I don't consider myself a top producer. I'm just like one of you guys. I was sitting in these chairs a few months ago, looking up at Eric, the Chelseas, the Hannahs, the Daniels. I was like, man, like I want to be up there someday. Yeah, and I guess today's that day. I'm still learning. I mean, it's even harder because my why is right there. Like, my parents were just walking on the Bay Trail this morning, and I was like, oh shoot, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. All right.
No pressure now.
No pressure now. All right.
I can tell everybody that.
All right, so, I mean, for those that I haven't met personally, my name's Hector Rodriguez. A question I get asked a lot, actually Daniel asked me this in Vegas. He's like, dude, are you really a nurse? Yes, I am. I am really a nurse. I'm an emergency room nurse. I still work. My shift is tomorrow, 12-hour shift, so yeah, I'm still a nurse. But yeah, welcome to my masterclass. We're gonna learn how to get your offer accepted or, become very competitive in a multiple offer scenario. like I was telling Bill and like how Bill mentioned, so this is my second year in the industry. I was with a smaller team to begin with. When I was first starting off my real estate journey, I didn't know where to go. People were reaching out on social media and they're like, "Oh, hey, come join my team, come join my team." And I was like, "Well, what's the best move?" I talked to a friend of mine. He's like, "Hey, just go start off at a small team. Learn the basics. Like, it's like doing math on paper without a calculator. Like, learn how to become a real estate agent. Then go to a bigger team that has all the fancy toys. Just learn how to be an agent first and then go from there." But that brought me here. So here's a brief story and my why. So I was born abroad. I was born in Mexico, Jalisco to be exact. My father, that gentleman right there, he immigrated to the States like as a teenager. He would work like the Napa vineyards and just harvest the wine, go back home, bring money back to the family. At that point, he met my mother. My mother was a banker in Mexico. Then at some point they had me. I was lucky enough to get my citizenship as a baby. Very rare story nowadays, but now we're here. At the age of 8, my mother was diagnosed with leukemia. It was definitely like the hardest moment of my life. Like, the prognosis wasn't good. Like, they're like, "Hey, you might not have a mom next year." Like, what 8-year-old wants to hear that? She survived. She's obviously here. So like at the age of 8, I was always like, what do I want to do when I grow up? I was, was really good into like the math, the sciences. Like, so I was like, I want to be a doctor naturally. Like, I saw her what she go through. I'd spend like weekends at Stanford going down the hallways and see what doctors do. And I was like, I want to be like he when I grow up. I didn't become a doctor, but I became a nurse practitioner. I mean, it's still good. I enjoy being with patient cares. I love the patient care interaction. My first year of nursing school, also we got some other negative news. My mother got diagnosed with breast cancer. Like, I knew the conversation wasn't going to be good because like she just came up to me and stood in silence, and I already knew something's wrong. But again, she's a fighter, cancer-free. So I spent my time in college just trying to, improve myself, learn how to be the best I could be. I mean, I tried to focus on the sciences. I had a counselor who said I was never going to make it. She said, "You're not going to get into grad school, like medical school, just throw that dream out the window." And that's when I was like, no, I'm going to do it. Like that anger, like pushed me forward. I did get into medical school, decided not to get in, decided not to go. Decided to work and get some experience, and that led me to nursing. I started working as a paramedic, then moved my way into the emergency department. I saw what nurses did. I thought that was amazing. I thought they had great patient care interactions, and that's the path I led to today. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about real estate. So today's objective is we're going to how to craft our competitive offers to give your clients the winning edge in a multi-offer scenario. Today's agenda, we want to understand the buyer's position. We want to know, where they are financially, what their thoughts are, what do they know about the process. And of course, as Eric, as a teacher, we want to educate them, because this is scary for them. This is the first time. This is the biggest purchase that they might make. This might be the only purchase that they might make. Like, this might be their only home. We're going to learn how to craft a strong offer. We're going to talk about contingencies and the roles that they play in these multiple offer scenario. Speed and timing. Like, speed is everything. Like, whether it be in sports or like in life, like the right timing at the right place and making the right move at the right time can be a game changer. We're going to talk about some negotiation techniques, how to build relationships, not just with your clients, but the listing agents, because at the end, you want to convince them that you are the one for the house. We want to manage your client's expectations, and then we're going to go over some real-life case studies of some recent deals that I've done. All right, you guys awake? Yep. Perfect. So, current market conditions. I mean, you guys, I see you guys doing your work around, social media. I see Eric, I see the Hannahs. I saw Jaden with the $1.6 million deal. Like, I mean, what are you guys seeing? Like, what are you guys seeing out in the market? Like, Eric, what are you seeing?
Yeah, definitely. We had an open house this past weekend, and for Saturday it was 15 groups, so people are still actively looking. They're ready with, even though rates are starting to climb back up, but people are still out there shopping. I know generally the winter time is known to be the slowest time. But yeah, I think we're here to really just trying to change the narrative and really help as many buyers or sellers as possible, and really make sure that we focus on meeting them where they're at.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're blessed to have a lender in the house. Like, I mean, how are things going for you, Grace? Like, what are you seeing in regards to mortgage applications?
A key for the moral support, but you know what? We had a little bit of a lull for a week or so. Very busy summer, so we saw a big spike in transactions. I think you guys saw it on your side with like team closed deals. Then there was a week or two that it was just like uncharted waters, and that slowly picked back up because rates were low. So I think you're gonna see that again, right? Another week or two of a lull if you have buyers that want to pull the trigger but are thinking twice because of the election. But just keep going, right? And I think we had a really great conversation this morning with Isha, one of her clients, and it was just like I gave them as many positives as there were negatives, right? There was one negative and three positives. Like, I know that we have a challenging price point, but here's what we can do, this, and this. So I think that conversation, if we wouldn't have had it, could be the difference between an unmotivated buyer.
Yeah, for sure.
The education.
Definitely education. Education is a key component. I was just talking to Colleen the other day. She's submitting 2 offers right now. And I think one might have been a multi-offer scenario or something like that. So yeah, I mean, people are still shopping. I mean, after this, I'm gonna work on an offer myself. So people are still out there. But yeah, this is what the statistics are saying. Like, this is from the Realtor Properties Resource. I mean, for the most common counties that we work in. As you can see, for the most part, it's mostly a seller's market. San Francisco, still a seller's market, maybe slowed down a little bit. What they say is about anything below 4 months of inventory is a seller's market. From 4 to 6 is what they consider like a balanced market. Once a property is on the market for more than 6 months, the average is more than 6 months, they call that a buyer's market. And we haven't seen. I look at these charts like once a month, and like it hasn't been a balanced market anytime soon. It's still like sellers. As you can see, like 2.5, 2.3 in Solano, 2.2 in Contra Costa, like 2.25 in Alameda, 14 days on the market, 19 days on the market. So these are quick counties, like Solano 37 days and San Francisco around 50. So having that education and background, when you get into these counties, you know what you can expect and how competitive you need to be. So we want to understand the buyer's position. Like, this might be their first home. This could be their second home. But you want to understand, like, what is their financial comfort level? Just because they got approved for like $1 million doesn't mean we have to go shopping for that. We can go shop at 500, 400. Like, what is their comfort level? Like, what are they looking for? The perfect mortgage payment? Are they thinking about the interest rate? Like, is this a rental? Like, what do they want out of this? In the event that you get into a multi-offer scenario, like, is what they're approved for or what they want to offer, is that their max? Because if it is, we need to start looking at homes at a lower price. Like, if this is their max and this is their dream home, like, at that point, we need to pull out all the stops and like try to figure out how to make that happen for them. But also it has to make financially sense because we don't want this house to foreclose. We want them to be comfortable. Motivation, are they ready to buy right now? Or are they just leisurely shopping? Because then if we're gonna get into a multi-offer scenario, like, we have to educate that this might move quick and we need to be on the ball. And then flexibility, I know sometimes they have an idea of what their dream home might be or what city they're on or what neighborhood. But sometimes we need to educate them on the flexibility of like possibly looking at another neighborhood or another home type or size or what are their negotiables. Of course, we're going to do all the best we can to try to make it happen, but also just be open and flexible. Sometimes I had my recent client; she was shopping in the Oakland Hills. That's all she wanted was Montclair. We ended up finding a home like in Leona Heights, like 5 minutes away. Like, beautiful home. But that was like, she was so focused in one area that she just basically like crossed out the rest of the map. And we're like, hey, look, this gem popped up and now she's happy. And then their approval or pre-approval status. Once you get into like a multi-offer scenario, you want your clients to be as ready as possible. Like, are they pre-approved? Are they are they pre-underwritten? That's even better. Like, because at that point we can even remove some contingencies. If the perfect home comes to the market, are they ready to make on a move like in the next hour or so? And then always gauge your clients. What speed are they comfortable working at? Like, are we going back to back like in the next hour and just knocking the hour out, or is it going to take like a day or two, or a few hours, or half the day, or a week, 2 weeks, a month? Always gauge your clients and just check in with them, provide that positive feedback, and then just see where they're at. You can't want the house more than they want the house. All right, so in regards to crafting a strong offer, the earnest money deposit is high or better. I think it's situation dependent. Usually they would say, oh yeah, the higher the better, it provides the seller's confidence, but 3% could be a good chunk of change for some people. And I always want to protect my buyers, so about 1 to 3% is average. On my personal offers, I usually go around 2% or so. In a current offer right now, we actually got very creative. My client, we put down $2,000, and we did a 2-portion EMD, which is, it's weird, but hey, it worked out. The sellers were open to it. But they took it, and they took the offer. I would consider changing the due date if this is a very a multiple offer scenario and you want to be serious. And you first, of course, talk to your clients and see if they want to, if this is a house for them and they're super serious, why not make the EMD due date tomorrow or 2 days from now to show the client, to show the sellers that, hey, we're serious, we want to move forward, and we're ready to go. Here's, send over the wire. Flexible terms, adjust your terms to the specific scenario. It's very important to make the listing agent your friend. You have basically the first 5 minutes to make an initial impression, I would say. Just before talking real estate, just learn about them. When I was in grad school, I remember I had a professor come in. She walked in and she's like, well, what do you guys know about me? First day of class for 5 minutes. We're like, well, nothing. We just know that your name is Dr. Perlis. And they're like, well, you should have researched me before you got to this class. So that's what I took away from just that one class. It's do some research on your competition. Look at do some research on other agents, see what they're doing, see what other listings they have, see what they're into. Sometimes, nowadays with social media, you can find all these people, and you just have a better idea of okay, well, how do I make them my friend? And then in regards to the sellers, you see what they need. Maybe a quick close is not what they need. Maybe they want some time to move out. Maybe they need a rent back, or or a longer closing period. Maybe they need something specific. Sometimes faster is not better. That actually happened in Oakland. They're like, hey, we'll do it, but just are we able to do a 2-week rent back? And that'll make it better for my client, and they took it. Escalation clauses. And I've never used one before. Has anyone used one before? You've used?
I literally just submitted an offer with an escalation clause. Got my fingers crossed, hoping that it's going to go in our favor. But what I'm learning about escalation clauses, they definitely can help make the offer stronger if your buyer is willing to offer a certain amount over maybe the highest offer. Initially, what you're writing isn't coming in higher on hand, but got one out, so.
Fingers crossed. Do you have a favorite candy? Reese's Pieces, Hershey's? Let's see. Let's see. You want a candy? Pass it around, pass it around. I know. I just didn't want to hit somebody. Then I'd be liable. So escalation clauses. Like I said, I personally never used one. Ashley, right? Is it Ashley? Ashley sounds like she's used one. I've heard stories. I work with one of the lenders all the time, and he told me a crazy story where he basically said we were playing poker with him and his colleague that he was saying. He's like, it was like a multi-offer scenario. I think there was like 20 offers on the table for like a beautiful home in San Francisco. And like the other agent just walked in and said, here's my offer, here's my escalation clause. You have to prove to me that you have that number. If not, we're walking away. And they're like, basically at this point, it's just like, all offers on deck, like, who has that number? And it's like, well, here it is, and they got the house. So it was crazy. I was like, oh, I guess it works, but I haven't done it. I haven't done it yet.
With all of these different strategies, though, like that's where it's like I saw Ashley post that in Slack. Like that's where you want to post that. We're gonna help you get that. Like she wanted the right wording. She was like, how do you do this? And it's like, and we've done all of the different escalation clauses out there. So like, if you haven't done it, or some deals that you were talking to, one of us has done it. One of us. So I think that's like, especially, we're probably going to be running into a lot of multiple offers. And what happens when you get multiple offers, you start to go above the appraisal value. And then that's when that kind of starts messing with you. So there's a winning escalation clause that always got me deals, whereas then everybody else, you start seeing doing it. But you could say, just say you'll go $100,000 over the list price, even though it's not going to appraise for more than $50,000. Because you just go all the way up because it's a shiny number. You educate the buyer that, and then you put it into the contract. Buyers are only willing to pay $5,000 over the appraisal value if the value does not come in at offer price of X amount of dollars. But it's a shiny number that gets attention, and then you're just using that. And then when you meet the appraiser, obviously you're trying to get it as low as you can, versus the opposite way when you're trying to get high. So it's a game that you can play with.
Well, I mean, that's a gem right there. I mean, I just learned something new today right there. That's a new tool for the back pocket.
A lot of the agents reach out to us and ask us for the verbiage as well to make sure it's going to work for the lender. So I guarantee you all the lenders have had to go through that situation for the most part. So I would definitely.
Yeah, I mean, reach out to your team. I mean, someone here has done it, like, so, don't feel like you're alone in this process. I always, basically pick someone else's brain too with like certain offers, and we're here to make sure everyone wins. So there's some pros.
One thing, Ashley posted it on Slack, and I think we need to keep posting things on Slack, because after Ashley posted that, Bill replied, and then someone else called me and said, what would be the verbiage? And I was able to direct them exactly to what Ashley posted, and the verbiage is already there. So if we're not using Slack, so what it's supposed to be, we're going to be getting a lot of calls, or maybe we don't want to do that call, and we're like, oh, what do we do? But if the whole team is doing it, we're going to get better feedback from Slack.
For sure, yeah. Definitely teamwork makes the dream work, right? So the pros to the escalation clauses, it can increase your chance of winning. It shows seriousness, and it minimizes the back and forth. Like, we're not going to go back and forth negotiating, like, highest offer, X amount over. We're done. Some cons. It can remove some negotiating power. There's a risk of overpaying, but if you have that verbiage, like Bill said, well, that can maybe have that protection there. And then, of course, the potential for the appraisal gap. When you're doing, when you're crafting a strong offer, develop your pricing strategies. You're the expert. Research that neighborhood, research that city, like, days on market. What are things selling for? Like, are they going over? Are they going under? Like, what percentage over are they going? Like, don't just shoot a blind number. Like, Oakland's a very interesting city because nothing's transparent there. Like, a house will be listed for 700, they want 1.3. Like, so when your clients are looking, like, you're the expert. Like, like when they shoot you all these houses, be like, hey, like, that's a great house, but realistically they want that. Like, sometimes they won't believe you, and then you shoot the offer and be like, hey, like, well, I'll write the offer if you want to. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be accepted, and you just keep them in the loop and be transparent. That happened to my client before we found the perfect house. Like, she thought like a $800,000 house in the hills is going to happen. I was like, on like offer day, I was like, hey, they're already at 1.3. Like, do you want to meet that, or do we want to keep looking? So be realistic and be transparent. Like, you are the trusted source. You are the agent. That's the reason we get paid at the end. Like, you don't want to just shoot a random number. You want to do your research before and present it to them, because at the end of the day, like, market data and numbers is what matters. Like, let's see. Contingencies. Are 17 days good enough? In a multiple offer scenario, probably not. Like, close of escrow, this is what's worked for me in these type of situations, like 10 to 21 day close of escrow. On average, we close 14 to 17 days. We get our loan contingency anywhere between 10 to 14. On average, it's been about 12 days. An appraisal of 7 to 10 days, we get it on rush. An inspection anywhere between 5 to 10 days. So we're pretty quick. Like if you're working with me, I was like, we're gonna be aggressive. Like Colleen was asking me the other day, like, what would I do? I was like, well, did you set an expiration for tonight? Like, and call the agent and be like, hey, we're gonna offer this right now, and I want to know an answer tonight. And she's like, wait, what? Why? And I was like, do you want the house or not? So let them put the ball in their court. Like, be like, hey, we're serious. We want to move forward. Let your seller decide. Like, do you want to sell this house or do you not want to sell this house? And then at that point, if they send you a counter offer, at least you're in the game. If it's a no, then it's a no and you just keep moving. Let's see. In the event that your client finds the dream home, the one of one, like I could see myself living here forever, and they have multiple offers in hand, like there's a risk to that. But if they're willing to take it and like they're educate them on the process, like, there might be you might have to go all in. Like at this point we're playing poker, but you really, really have to educate your client. Like, hey, inspections, were they done? Like, are you okay with what you find? Like, is this house gonna appraise? That's where you kind of come in and actually really dig deep into the neighborhood and be like, is it gonna appraise for what we're gonna offer? And then can we get this loan? Or if they're pre-underwritten, that's even better, because then the lender has stronger confidence in we can get the loan. But it's a risky situation. I've only been in it once. I've lost a lot of sleep over it, but the house is great. It's beautiful. Like my clients are happy. They still tell me every day how much they love this house, and I was like, it worked out. Someone had a question. Ashley?
I was gonna ask for the contingencies and see how you have on average for the close of escrow and loan. Sometimes it may take between 14 and 17 days or 12 days. I've had an experience with clients educating them on the benefit of shortening our contingencies for a strong offer, but sometimes they only hear that this makes our offer stronger.
Mm-hmm.
They don't fully grasp what that means on their end, what they'll need to do to make sure that we're meeting what we're saying we can do as far as shortening our contingencies. Do you suggest explaining to our buyers, because sometimes I find that explaining these type of things take longer than you plan to?
Yeah.
Do you suggest explaining to the buyers the importance of understanding what it's going to mean when you shorten those contingencies, and also having a lender that can meet the shortened contingencies? Because sometimes
Definitely, education is very, very important. Like, before you even start shopping homes, I want you to read this buyer's guide before me. We're gonna meet up, and you're gonna tell me what you learned. What did you, we're gonna go with it, we're gonna go over it together. I also want you to read it on your own, and then we're gonna go over it again. And then I want you to understand what what the process is, what contingencies actually mean, and how this affects the deal. With my current client right now, first-time home buyers, contingencies, they kind of grasp the idea, but now that you're actually in it, they're like, oh, well, that's what that means. Because we're actually pulling out of the deal, and our contingency saved us. So we're getting our EMD back today. So having them understand what that means, in regards to inspections, that means, hey, we're gonna try to get this inspection ASAP, and then we're gonna go ahead and if everything looks okay, do you guys feel comfortable moving forward? If there's a big red flag, hey, this is how many days we have until we can back out. Timing is everything. Whether it be again, in life or in real estate or whatever you end up doing outside of here, being at the right place at the right time is perfect. If you find an opportunity, don't wait. It might not be there tomorrow. It might not be there in the next hour. Jump on it. Especially with with real estate. Like as the market starts to heat up, like there was a time where like you'd see a house on the market like in one day and like tomorrow it'd be pending. Like it's, you know, it can get really quick, really fast. That happened to a recent client. Like as we were searching, we saw a house on the market. As soon as it popped up, I called the listing agent. It was available, and it was a perfect situation for my client. You know, it kind of unfortunately was not the best for the sellers because they were getting a divorce. But for my client, it was perfect. Like they got a deal in a great location. So reach out to the listing agent as soon as possible. Call them, text them, email, I don't know, whatever it takes. Send them a messenger pigeon. Like find out where their office is. Go meet up with them. You know, reach out to them and develop that conversation and be like, hey, we're interested. Like what needs to happen in order for us to make this deal go through. Develop rapport with the listing site quickly, and structure your offer with, you know, strong closing timelines. You know, this is where your lender is your bestie. Like a strong lender is going to make this happen for you guys. You know, reach out to them. You know, see what they can do for you. See how strict our timelines can be, and like, you know, how can we adjust our contingencies to be as competitive as possible. They called me again, like the daughters that just got off work. It's like, hey, like, can you show this house to my daughter? I was like, sure, yeah. I was like, I'm driving back home, but I'll stop by there first. And then by the evening, we were in contract. Like just showing up and then just being right on it. Like, you know, calling the listing agent immediately. Like once they identified a property, I wanted to know everything I needed to know about it. How many offers they had, like what are they looking for? So once I met the client, I already had some background information. And then, yeah, by like, at that point, like in between meeting the parents and meeting the client, I already like sent out some lender's information. So they were already working on that. And by the time we like saw her again, she gave us a final approval that, you know, this is the property. And by evening time, they were already like pre-approved. We just submitted the offer. So it can happen quick. Negotiation techniques. So when competing with cash offers, sometimes like how fast you can close this escrow, you know, can make a difference. Again, that's where your lender can come in, strong and short timelines, just to compete with a cash-like offer. I know some lenders have this like a program where they can buy the house for you. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've seen like two that have that program, so you want to check internally, but there's definitely fees. It's kind of like a mini bridge loan.
Yeah, like I haven't done it personally, but I've had two lenders explain it to me where they're like, they can buy the house for you all cash, but then there's some other terms that might apply. There might be like a certain percentage that you have to pay them. So if this is the home, and you can always pose this to client. I haven't done it personally, but there's all these other, you know, there's all these other resources out there. So contingencies definitely like consider shortening or maybe removing some. You know, it's all situation dependent. See, you know, always go back with your lender and see like what they recommend and like, you know, what's possible, what's feasible, what's irrational, and then go from there. You know your seller. That's going to be very, very important. Like, what do they need? Like, you know, what's their next move? Are they like moving out of state? Are they downgrading? Are they upgrading? Are they doing it so quick? Are they waiting to wait? What consider a lease back or a rent back or a quick close? Ashley?
Okay, sorry for that.
No worries.
So for a lease rent back scenario, could you explain what that is? I know that might come into play if you have something that's owner occupied.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
What exactly is that if you do want to include that in the offer to make it stronger?
Definitely. So again, not every seller is looking to leave the house immediately. Some are owner occupied and like they might be in contract in another house, so they might need a little bit of time before leaving their house to move to the second house. Because at the end of the day, like, hey, you know, I don't want to be homeless in the meantime. Like, I don't want to be living out of a hotel for a few days or a few weeks while this other deal closes. So for sure, and it's better than Airbnb because you're in your own home. And you can work out this deal however, whatever it takes on the seller side. Like I did one in Vacaville where we gave them about like a 2-week rent back. I think they like gave us like $80 a day to be there. So my clients got some money out of it, like just for the person to stay at the house because they needed the time to move out because they're moving to the south. So that's how it worked there. In Oakland, we gave them about 2 weeks as well. So the situation there was the seller she needed to sell the house because she just recently got divorced. So it's, kind of a sad scenario. So husband left to the East Coast, but so she needed the money to buy her next house. And my client was totally cool with it. She's like, hey, like, I understand, and that's a tough scenario. Like, I don't want to, beat her down when she's already down. Like, whatever it takes, like, 2 weeks. If she needs 2 weeks, cool. 3 weeks, that's fine. We gave her like 2 weeks for free. Like, hey, enjoy your house. Like, I know you're going through a lot. Like, we're not rushing you out. And she appreciated that, and that's what it took for our offer to stand out versus someone else who was like, we want you out tomorrow.
If it's paid, we grab the mortgage and we divide it by 30 days, and that becomes the number that your client must forget.
There you go. But yeah, sometimes like, knowing your seller and knowing what they want can have you stand out. Like, and just having that close communication with the other agent. What does your seller need? Like, is she looking for something in particular, or he or she? And that can make you possibly stand out versus other offers. And of course, making sure the other party recognizes you when you call or when you text. Like, this is where relationships are important. Like, whether it be like your clients, the listing side, your buyer, like, as I mentioned already, the buyers, like, you want to build that strong rapport. And like, when you call the listing agent, they should know who you are. Like, they don't want to be like, oh, hello, who's this? Like, if you hear that, you already lost. Like, they don't even know who you are. So it's at that point you have to, introduce yourself. Like, you got to, like, text them, call them. Like, you don't want to be like annoying, but you want to, like, if you're going to call them, it has to be like something like meaningful, purposeful, and then like something with intention. Like, something that, hey, we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that. Like, expect this, expect that. This is how things are going. Or just like, give them like a quick little update on like what's going on. EMD was sent, like this, that. Then, like, they'll remember you. Like, they'll pick up the phone and be like, oh, what's up, Hector? Hey, how's it going? What's up, Eric? What's up, Ashley? And like, make them your friend. Like, in a recent deal, like, me and the agent became like cool friends out of it. Like, now we're gonna go to a Warrior game and go to dinner. He's like, hey, bro, like, it was amazing. Like, it was super cool working with you. Like, let's do it again. Like, Warrior season starting, let's go. And I was like, oh, dude, that's super cool. And now he's like, he's giving me all his listings. Like, he's like, hey, like this, I have this, and it coming up. So something can come out of it, or whether it be a referral or a friendship. Having a strong lender is super important. Like, they're a huge asset. Without them, we're nothing. Like, let's be honest. Like, they're the money people. Like, they can provide the contingencies. Like, we're the face, but they're the back end. So we all, it's like, being the quarterback and like having like a strong offensive line. Like, they're the ones that are going to make the deal happen. So definitely, have a strong lender who's available to call or text. If even available after hours, like if you have like a lender that's only available 9 to 5, especially if they're on the East Coast, like that makes things a lot challenging. Like, so having a strong lender partner is super important. I've mentioned this before. Definitely research your opponent. Find out about them. 2 or 3 little things. You have 5 minutes to introduce yourself and make yourself known, and then also just have them, lock your phone in, because then when you call or text, they should know who you are. Let's see. When you call them, talk business, but they're also human. Sometimes, some people just like to talk about themselves, so talk about them, and then maybe that could be the difference. Let's see. Manage your client's expectations. Make sure you have a clear outline of the plan. When you meet your client, I personally like to know about them before we talk about houses. Like, where are you from? Where do you come from? Like, what do you do? Like, know who they are before we start looking for the right home. Like, because we're playing essentially like a house matchmaker, so I want to make sure it's the right fit for the lifestyle and for who they are and for what they're doing. Like, it gives that personal touch. Have an open line of communication. Like, I always tell my clients to save my phone number. Call, text, whatever is easier. You can call me any time of day. I work at night, so if they have a burning question at 1 a.m, feel free to shoot the text. I'm pretty sure I'll probably be up and respond. So always have that line of communication with everyone involved in the transaction, and it makes it easier. Group texts are amazing, especially with the lender, because then we're all on the same page. So we're not like, who, what, where? So a group text is definitely important. Be 100% transparent, honest, and genuine. Like, you know, everyone's gonna appreciate that. Like, you know, we wanna place our clients first, always. Like, you know, yeah, we wanna sell houses, but at the end of the day, we wanna put them first. Like, it's not a one-time deal. This could be a second deal, a third deal. Like, you know, they could be like become longtime friends. They could be family someday. Who knows? Like, you don't, you know, like life is weird, like life is strange, but this, you know, you wanna put them first. And always important, like you can't want the house more than they want the house. Like, I learned this, you know, I've heard this multiple times from lenders, from other agents. Like, we can do everything we need to do, but if they don't love the house, what are we doing? Because then they're not gonna be happy. You're gonna hear it later. They're like, oh, well, you made me buy this house. And it's like, well, no, it's like, I want you to be happy, and I wanted to buy you at your own timeline and at your, you know, when you feel ready. Like, this is what we're here to do. Like, I'm not here to pressure anyone. Like, you buy when you're ready. So now we're gonna walk into some case studies of some real life deals that actually happened. I'll show you one of my biggest wins would be this one right here with the ocean views. That's why it had 20 plus, 30 plus offers. We just closed this one in Oakland. And of course, some other cool properties as well, but we're gonna go and have some real life examples of with these houses and how we got them. Let's see. So 4126 Coonley was listed at $70.99, just 5 minutes away from the Montclair district, a beautiful, cool little community. It did not burn down, it's still there, because we were scared. We were scared. I got the text like when the fire broke out, and we're like, I just got off work, and I was like, I fell asleep, and like, I heard my phone vibrate, and I was like, what's going on? And I was like, a group text with me and the lender, and then she's like, hey, like, in the event that the house burns down, am I covered? And I was like, what's going on? There's a fire? And then I was like, talk to my OFD homies, and I was like, hey, what's the situation on this fire? And they're like, oh yeah, it broke out like in this area. And I was like, dude, that's like where the house is like an exit away. Like, I was like, how's it going? They're like, oh, we're containing it. I was like, oh, thank God. So the house is still there. House is still there. So it was listed at $70.99. They did a lot of beautiful work to it. Like, maybe we even got the furniture out of this. Like, it was such a cool like deal. So let's see, as an agent, $7.99, how would you guys approach this? Again, this is in the city of Oakland. I'm not sure if anyone's had a deal there so far. Let's see, but throw out some ideas, and I'll show you what I did.
How much are we approved for?
We are approved for 1.2.
So did it go for 1.1?
No, we actually got under $1 million.
Nice.
Yeah, under $1 million.
A lot of my Alameda clients go no contingency
No contingencies? Okay.
when they have.
We had contingencies. So we didn't get to that point yet, but there were other offers on the table. But you know, I'll tell you what I did. Any other thoughts? So inspections, they had pre-inspections done. It was just all minor stuff. Sewer, we did need to get a sidewalk extension certificate, but in sections, like the roof was good, like sewer lateral was recently done. It was just a sidewalk, and then just like minor things around the house, like GFCI and little like maintenance stuff. But the house was great. I mean, they did a lot of work to this place. It was a place that they put a lot of love into, but unfortunately, you know, scenario of divorce, you know, put that house on the market.
A rent back?
We did get a rent back. The comps were anywhere between 950 to like 1.4.
So it sounds like they underpriced it just to get people to bid on it, obviously, because it wasn't even anywhere near where the comps were. So
Yeah. So like,
you would probably advise your client, like, we need to go in a little bit higher so that we can land this deal, which obviously you did. So your approach with your client was, did you kind of preface it like, okay, we need to go in higher because of the comps and their blah, blah, blah. So even though it's listing at 799, I would recommend you go in higher. Is that what happened, or?
Definitely, yeah. I always have my laptop on me. Like, you know, sometimes we're on the go. Like, you just pull up like the, you know, what you see and like real live market data. I was talking to my client and I was like, hey, like, you know, we already submitted an offer in the Hills before, so she already knows like what she can expect, like the expectation. Like there was a $700,000 house that was 2 bedroom, 1 bath, no parking spot for like 1.3, something like it sold for 1.3. It was listed at 7, so she already knew.
What was the square footage?
The layout on this home, I think it was about 12 to 1,300 square feet. It's a 2 bedroom, 1 bath, but there's a third bonus room like underneath in the garage. So there's a potential other room down there. And then of course the garage and a beautiful yard, updated kitchen, everything's updated inside.
Was it an attached garage?
Yeah, it's right down here.
Oh, okay, that's why I see it.
Yeah, it's like built under.
Garage, okay.
Yeah, built right here.
That's the bonus in Oakland, have that attached garage. Most of the garages are external, and that's a pain coming in late at night.
For sure.
Safety.
Definitely.
So that's a big selling point.
Yeah, so she could just drive straight in, and she has like a little like extra parking spot here as well.
Okay.
And it's a corner house, so it's a good sized lot. So this is what we did. I called the agent. Like I knew they had one offer in hand. It was under. I knew they had one that was over, but like they had a lot of contingencies in place, and like they were all over the place. It wasn't very clean. So I called them and I was like, hey, like, you know, I see this house. What are you looking? You know, what do you want? You know, how's it gonna? You know, how can we make this work? What is your seller looking for? And I was like, you know, I try to like, you know, give my client a deal. So I was like, hey, just joking around, like, you know, it already sounds like we were already like on a cool, like, you know, on a colleague, like face to face, we were just joking around. And I was like, hey, like, you know, what if I offer you 880? He's like, you know, that might work. That could start the conversation. I was like, all right, cool. So then I go back to my client. I was like, hey, what if we do 880 with 10K seller credit? And then she's like, yeah, that can work. And then we go back and then we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna submit an offer at 880 tonight. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, write it up and let me know. And then we settled at 920. But this is how it ended up working out. So from what I learned is that the seller needed to make about $220,000 off this deal to make her next move. So I literally had to go back and forth, do math, like literally like scribbled everything, like what do we need to do to net her 220K? And so we can get this price at the lowest price available for my clients and to make this offer work. Like we literally, like we got this deal accepted like 2 a.m. Me and the lender were like still up, like going back and forth, and we're like, dude, we should call it a night. It's like, well, let's try one more scenario. And then he's like, so constant communication with the listing agent, understanding the seller's needs. She was recently divorced, needed to sell within a certain amount because she needed to buy another house. We gave her a 2-week rent back, no charge to the seller. Has like, hey, you can stay here for free. Like, you know, there's no rush on our side. We were going to close in 14 days. The other offer was like 21 days and 28 days. Other offers had like full contingencies with like long periods. They already had a pre-inspection done. My seller was totally okay with it. We also got another inspection before we closed again, so she needs to have her second idea of like what she needs to address. It basically ended up being the same.
She has questions for me. I got 2 questions.
Yeah.
So my first question to you, Heather, is how consistent should you be with communicating with the listing agent after submitting your offer? It's kind of like a 2-part question. That's the only one question. Say, for example, the seller is an entity or a trustee or something, so they need a little more time, but you still want to move with communicating or attempting to communicate with the listing agent. How soon should you be following up with that listing agent after submitting the offer, and how consistent should you follow up with that agent until you get under contract?
Yeah, as I'm working through the contract, I'm already talking to them. Hey, like, you know, I'm actually typing the contract up as we speak. Like, you know, expected at X amount of time. Hey, contracts, you know, offer submitted. Let me know when you get it. Oh, hey, what did you think of our contract? Where are we if they have multiple scenarios? Like, we know where do we stand? Just, you know, maybe like once a day. That might be a little too much for some people. Once your offer gets accepted, maybe like every 2 to 3 days, you know, just give them an update. Hey, like, my clients at the bank right now are submitting the EMD. Hey, we're doing this. Like any like milestone that's happening, just call or text, see whatever they prefer. Some people like that, some people don't. Some people are like, just email me. Like, so just figure out like what your listing agent wants. Just like your buyers, like or sellers, you know, what's your preferred method of communication, and then just go that route.
And then my second question, this buyer in Oakland, they seem like they have the funds, number one, they have a higher purchase power as opposed to maybe like your other first-time buyer, maybe their price range is like 3 to 4K a month, depending on who's on their loan or whatnot. How can you prep a buyer in that scenario basically to compete and have a strong offer just based on what they can afford?
For sure.
That would allow them a little more flexibility or to stand out in the markets that they compete in. If they can't,
Definitely.
they're not gonna,
Yeah, definitely. Like if you want to get into that price range and your budget maybe by a little bit lower, it is going to be a little competitive. Let's be honest, but it is possible. It's possible. You just have to come up with the right strategy. You have to find the right house. Like I'm not sure if it's going to be like another family living there. Like if they have like if it has an ADU or a bonus room or extra room, like maybe you can rent that room out and like that could be like some other source of income. Like you have to like literally sit down, see if the numbers are going to work out, have your lender on the call or meet up in person. And if we're going to go into that price range, like we have to be realistic. Like, hey, like this is what the payments are going to be like. This is what you're looking for. Like, you know, is this going to work out? Like, you know, we don't want to be like, I hate being the bad person, but like sometimes you have to pop that bubble of like, hey, like maybe this might not work out. Like, you know, and they'll thank you later. Like, you know, like, because now they got, like, I don't want you, like with my clients, I tell them all the time, I don't want you to go to work every day, pick up overtime to have a roof over your head. Because you're not living, you're gonna be unhappy, you're not gonna see your family, like your living situation is probably not gonna be the best, but you have a roof over your head, but you might end up hating this house because now you're going you're working your butt off to have this place. Like, that's not life, like, you know. So you just have to have that situation, but like you have to see, you know, what the possibility of this place is. Like, you know, can you rent it out? Can you have this? Can it be an investment? Like, can I live here and then rent the other unit? Like, can I house hack it? I think it's situational based. But yeah, I'm happy to talk about that like one-on-one and just go through scenarios like that. Yeah, we got the house and we even got like the furniture included just because my client was buying a condo. We got everything. Like, hey, like we'll take the house, we'll give you this is that, and we'll keep the furniture. And they said yes. We even got a Peloton out of it. Like those things are expensive. So 2917 Longview. This is in Antioch. It was listed at $565. What are your guys' thoughts? Yes, we got some credit back. There was this house was on the market for I think like 14 days. 14 days. There was like another one like down the street, different layout, but this was on the house for 14 days. It's a 3-2, all original. Only one family lived there, so it was in pretty good condition, but just old. This is what we ended up doing. We offered list price and we offered $15,000 back. I called that agent immediately. Blanco was the lender on this deal. We were going to do a 2-1 buy down. We got our offer accepted at 2 a.m. I was literally at work in the hospital working. We just finished doing CPR and stuff like that. I was just texting the agent. I was like, hey, like she's like, oh yeah, I'm still up. And I was like, oh cool, me too. And then she's like, yeah, I'm sending out an offer. I was like, great. Like how's ours looking? And she's like, well, you know, if you want $15,000 like credit, like, you know, let's go up a little bit in price. Or I was like, all right, well, we received the counter for $570 with $10,000 back, like at 1 in the morning or something like that. I already talked to my clients before they went to bed. I was like, hey, like, what's comfortable for you? What's your max? Like, I know you guys are gonna go to bed. Like I'll give you an update in the morning. Like, so I already knew, like, we already ran all these scenarios before everybody went to bed. And then and I was like, all right, so we got a counter for $570 with $10K back. We still needed $5,000 back to make this 2-1 buy down happen. So we countered back at $575 with 10K or with five or for 15 total, and this is all via text. So when the morning came around, like everything was out for signatures. The agent called me back. She's like, done. And then my client signed, they signed, and we were in contract that next day. Like sometimes deals happen overnight. Like just keep hustling. Like you never know who's still awake. So that's how we got this place done. It was a 3-2. I actually just we did a key day the other day because we waited a month because they wanted to upgrade it. Now it's a beautiful house, like new LVP, like freshly painted, like recessed lighting. They even made this into a 4th bedroom, like totally different, brand new house. And now it's probably, comparable to like what they were initially looking for. That was like maybe like 50 to 100K over. Like, so it's actually a pretty cool house. They did a lot of project and a lot of work in the last.
I think a good example of that though is like just don't assume.
Yeah.
A lot of people assume like, oh, it's too late, let's not text them, or maybe we'll reach out more. There's another agent that might be texting them or calling them after.
Yeah,
It's too late, and they get it and you don't.
exactly. Like that's where timing is everything. Like, just send out the text. Like,
Nothing's ever too late.
nothing's ever late.
It's too late. Or if they don't respond, then obviously it's too late.
It's either too late, or like they're in REM sleep. It's either one of those two, or they don't even know who you are at that point. Like, but at that point, like timing is everything. You never know who's up. And like they were just literally she called me up. It was like 2 a.m. She's like, hey, like how's it going? I was like, hey, why are you still up? I was like, I'm up because I'm working. Like, why are you still up? This was recent, cute townhouse in Benicia, listed at 465. What do you think happened here?
I'm going to credit back.
Okay, we got some credit back.
Yeah.
All right, fine. we need to do the Bruce Lee. Wake up. All right. So 465, 2 offers in hand. One was a FHA, like 28-day close with like a lot of asking for credit back and all these things. The other offer was slightly above, but asking for too much in regards to like credits. So I talked to the agent. He's actually the one that invited me to a Warriors game. Super cool dude. Marlon, if you ever get a chance to work with him, super cool dude. This is what we got it for listing price. Like there was a house over, and then there was an offer over, and an offer like right below. The way we did it, this is a scenario where I met the parents in the morning, went to go do some other showings, met the actual client in the afternoon, and by nighttime we were in contract. 21-day close of escrow, 12-day loan. We asked for no credits, 7-day appraisal. We actually got an appraisal waiver because my client, I guess, was a great candidate. So Bronco was able to make that happen. We got 7-day inspections. Everything, was otherwise clean in the condo, just original as well. Actually appraised over just because of the neighborhood it's in. It was just old on the inside, and they're actually upgrading as we speak. So it's going to be a beautiful property in a few weeks. But yeah, that's how we got that property. And I think the next one is, this was probably like the hardest deal I've ever done. And this is actually before I joined this team. It was like when I was at my other team. It's actually my first solo deal. Like I was like, the training wheels were off, and like, they're like, all right, well, go, like figure this out. And I was like, what do you mean figure this out? Like, and I was like, no pressure. Like now it's like, not only is it a client, it's actually my coworker. And like, she fell in love with this house. We saw like 10 before, but you see that look in their eyes when they find the home that's the one. They open up the house, like you could see it in their eyes. They're all like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. You could see them like the gears are running. They're like, oh my God, like, what can I do with this place? This is the one. Like, we walked in, no joke, on this table right here, there was 30 business cards. And I was like, all right, well, keep it calm, keep it collected. Like, but now, like visually, I'm seeing, oh man, this, obviously this is going to be a hot home. You walk in, beautiful lighting, like unobstructed views of the bay. Like you're like, all right, well, shoot, how are we going to make this happen? They had, no joke, 25 offers in hand. At that point, I was like, called the listing agent. I was like, oh, little sweat bead starts going down my head. I was like, shoot, I need to call my client back. We got to figure this out. Like, I was like, hey, like, there's 25 offers in hand. Like, just to preface it, like, what do you want to do? Do you want to jump into that? She's like, whatever it takes. I was like, oh shit, all right, well, at that point, I'm like, again, this is like my first deal on my own. Like, I was like, whatever that takes. I mean, I would, I'd talk to my team leader as well, but he was pretty busy as well. So I would like, try to make it short and sweet. And I was like, hey, like, what do I need? What should I do? My lender was pretty great. He guided me and coached me through the process. We offered $800K, no credits back. There was offers higher than that. There was offers lower than that, but they were asking for credits back, like their contingency periods. Again, we were not the highest offer. We had an 18-day close of escrow. My client had a pre-underwritten approval. We went all in. We waived all contingencies. I made sure the agent knew who I was. I would call her, text her. We became friends. One of her sisters actually a nurse, so like we clicked, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like I'm actually a nurse as well, and my client's a nurse. And she said, oh, that'd be so cool. Like like keep nurses get a nurse for a house for a nurse. Yeah, like it was. I got the phone call. Literally, I was on a ferry going to San Francisco when she called me back. We were still negotiating back and forth. She was like, oh, what about 825? And I was like, well, but what about 815? She's like, done. And that's how we got the house. Yeah. And final recap, like you want to understand your buyer's position, what's their financial status? Are they ready? Are they not ready? Are they really looking to make a move tomorrow? What's their max? Like, obviously don't want to go there. How to craft a strong offer, the contingencies and the role, like what's in, 17 days in this market, in the Bay, like Contra Costa, Alameda, San Francisco may not work. Could work maybe like higher Solano, but even then it's getting busy. Like I showed a house the other day that already had 4 offers in hand. So 17 days may not work. Speed and timing is everything. Like never assume, just reach out. Like it could be late night and someone else is still like burning the candle on the other end, like working. So always reach out. Make negotiation and building relationships is always important. Like, always put your clients first. Be transparent, know what they want, know what they're looking for, see what's ideal for them. But also just, you are their biggest advocate. You want to fight for them because at the end of the day, maybe like they might fight for you in the future. Like, might be a referral, might be a second house, might be, if they have a good experience with you, this could be, an endless pipeline. That first impression is everything. And of course, manage your client's expectations. Like, just be honest and upfront. And like, I like to send like a little like visual. Like once our offer gets accepted, I send them like a little roadmap. I was like, hey, you are here. Like in a few weeks, I'll send them another one. Like I'll circle, hey, you're here now. And then like as we're getting close to the finish line, I'll be like, hey, like in 2 days, this is yours. So like they know, like some people are visual and they want to know where they're at. Like how's the process going, and this is how it's working. And I was like, this might be their first time, so they could be lost. Like you're basically the little GPS on his journey. Questions? I know we've had a few throughout the presentation here. Yep.
On the one where I had walked out, on that one house, when you said you did the inspections and you guys had a few contingencies, was that a regular basic inspection or was it like a wet inspection?
Was that the Oakland house?
I think it was the Oakland house, I think.
They had full everything. They had like roof, pests, property. So we already knew like what they were gonna go into. Once we got accepted, my client, she like waived that inspection, but we ordered them as well. So she knows what she needs to address. Like once we close, like, we'll compare the two reports and be like, are there any discrepancies? But she just ordered them just to know what she needs to address. Yeah, for herself. I was like, hey, it's more of a personal thing at that point.
So she did do a wet inspection where they really go down and see everything. Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, I always recommend getting an inspection because, I trust everyone, but still, like, you want to prove it to yourself. Like this, a little investment can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is going on right now with one of my clients. So, you know, spend $300, $400 and that can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars of repairs. Exactly. You find out early and you address it. Exactly. That's the best way to put it. Good, the best analogy. Yeah, I like it. Jaden, Fume, anyone? Questions? Eric?
So knowing that you are a nurse, let's say if there was a deadline while you're having a shift, how do you like maneuver that? How do you communicate that to your clients and also to the listing agent?
Oh, sir, I have my phone on me 24/7. It's in my scrub pocket. There's an app. I write contracts on the go in between clients' rooms. Like, I have my laptop on my desk. Like, all right, I know my breaks from like usually 10 to 11. Like, if we are going to submit an offer, I would probably pre-write it before my shift, like most of the major stuff, and then just edit whatever I need to there. Yeah, that's actually how I got my Oakland client. Like, I walked in, she's actually a nurse practitioner there, and I was walking in, like, just going to clock in, and she's like, "Hey, you're a realtor." I was like, I am, yeah, I am. She's like, "Help me buy my house." I was like, "All right, well, let's do it." That's how it happened.
I want to ask a question. How long, like, getting to the point of writing offers is one thing.
Yeah.
But, like, you need to be able to, like, have clients to be able to write offers. How long did it take you, let's say, for all of these different deals that you even just talked about right now, from meeting them?
For meeting them
actually
to writing.
that point?
Let's see. Some of them were like literally same day. Like the Benicia one, I actually met the parents because they were looking to buy a second house months ago. But, I guess we really clicked that they remembered me. I was like, "Hey, like, well, if anything pops up in the future, just feel free to call or text me." And this is like 3 months later. I got a 7:00 a.m. text like, "Hey, Hector, how you been?" Her name, the mom's name is Blanca too. And I actually introduced her to Blanca, and I was like, "Hey, this is gonna be a first for me." There's like, I have a Blanca and a Blanca. It's like, let me introduce you guys. I was like, maybe it might work. And then yeah, she called me up and she was like, "Hey, like, we saw this house for our daughter. I think this is perfect for her. Like, he showed it to us." And yeah, that was literally in 24 hours. I mean, that's rare. That never happens. That's a gem. Like, it's a unicorn. But some of these deals were like either weeks to months, like of just from initial meeting to getting to the offer. Like, most of these people already had the thought of homeownership in the pipeline. They just needed to have the motivation to make the next move. There was one when we went to Vegas. I met them right before our flight. I was literally packing. Like, they called me like through Ojo. I picked up the phone call. I was like, "Hey," they wanted to see a townhouse in Vallejo. And I was like, the story was their agent got COVID. So they actually never even met the agent. Like, they were supposed to go see a house. The agent got COVID. Sucks for them. My clients are in contract. Let's see. They got COVID. I was packing to go to Vegas. My flight was in 2.5 hours or so. I was like, "Hey, I'm literally packing. If you're available in 15 minutes, I can meet you there." Got a BRBC signed. Showed them the house. Super cool couple. Got to the airport. Sent out a lender text before I boarded my flight. By the time I got to Vegas, they were already working on it. We went there for 3 days. On the way back, saw 2 more houses. We got them in contract. Like, that was like less than a week. But
I think
yeah.
what most of us always see, like on Instagram or Facebook, and we see the results. We always see the success, but we don't see all the in-between stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
How many clients did you have to connect with and meet with to find these ones?
Find these hundreds. There's a lot of phone calls, a lot of texts in between, a lot of heartbreaks, a lot of backstabbing that happened. But the work the results that I have now are like months of work. When I first joined the team, I literally ran through all my sphere of influence. I think I got my first deal on the team with like my final sphere of influence, and that was like in late March, early April when I first joined the Davis team. So from there, I was like literally starting over. Like, I was starting from fresh, like from scratch. And then so from March to now, what is that, 6-7 months, is what it took to get the results of what I got right now.
How many do you have closed as of now?
As of right now, I think I'm on 9. Like, I think I'm at 9.
So that's 6 to 7 months for 9, so that means sometimes 2 a month. So is it possible? Hell yeah, it's
Yeah, and like of course like the data is gonna be a little skewed just because this month was like a blessing. Like 4 or 5 deals in 1 month. I was like, it's how much a deal.
It's not the blessing, it's the opportunity that you gave yourself.
Yeah, the opportunity that
I
gives.
always tell because everybody, like,
But we'll keep a blessing too.
there's luck that comes with it, but you only get that luck if you're putting in that work.
Yeah, you got to put in the work. Like, there's no magic to it. Yeah, yeah. Hannah.
You almost have the record. I think we have a couple records with some of our agents where they get like, I think a week, 2 weeks, and boom, contract. So it happens, but I mean, you see how many other agents that don't happen, but you see, what I want everybody to see, and you guys showed up today, like dude, we got 50 on the team, and half of us are
Yeah.
So it's like,
Thank you guys.
it's the thing is, it's that work that you put in to create the opportunities that you're going to be given. And then when you get those opportunities, what do you do with them? So like that's where it's like, dude, this dude has met with 100 plus
Yeah, at
different
least.
people to get 9 people in contract. You know what I mean? That's the same thing what Eric was talking about last Masterclass. So you see the work that it takes. It's not the results. Like, oh yeah, that's easy. Yeah, that's easy. It's not, because it's all that grind in between. And then most people will give up on that 99 person when that 100th person is the deal that you could get. So.
Actually got the perfect quote for that. To our rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, but one of my favorites, like, Mamba mentality, probably one of the best players alive, like, one of the best players ever. I would go 0-30 before I would go 0-9. 0-9 means you gave up. You never got to the 30. You beat yourself, you psyched yourself out, you're out of the game. Like, you're gonna lose, and that's fine, but how you get up, how you show up is what's gonna determine your future and the success. Like, losing is fine, but how are you gonna, come back from that?
Oh, yeah.
Hannah.
The question is, in a multiple counter-offer scenario, where you already know there's gonna be, 10 offers, let's just say, and the listing agent is not giving you any information, and you're kind of asked to submit your highest and best, and comps are showing like 800 to 1.2, that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
How do you advise your client about that?
God, that's always annoying. It's always annoying because you're basically like shooting in the dark. Like, you need to have like someone on your side, like, throw some blessings and prayers, like light up whatever your favorite, like, like good luck, like whatever you need to do. Like, you have to like find like the most comparable property to this one that you're looking for. And sometimes it might be hard because if it's not a cookie cutter home, like, you're looking for like a unique home that matches everything. And like this, like the closest, the closest sale that you can see might be like in the closest neighborhood, like, would probably be something that you go off of. But if the agent's not giving you like much information, like, you literally sometimes will just say like, give me your highest and best. And I was like, all right, well, you really got to go dig deep into the market, see if this house is like worth it, and go back talk to your client. Like, because at the end of the day, they have to pay the mortgage on this. Like, do you want to spend X amount of money? Like, I could try to get you this house, but if you want to go like all in, or like, are you comfortable doing that? Like, but in that type of situation, yeah, like do your research, research the city, like see if there's anything spectacular coming, or like, up and coming Trader Joe's, or like something that could be worth it in the future. Look out for, again, like, try to find the most close to the most comparable property, and then just try to win over that listing agent. Like, just reach out to them. I'm sure they're tired of answering all these phone calls and texts, but like, maybe do a little research on them. I'm like, hey, like, how's it going? Like, don't even talk business, just talk about them, like, and see if you can get something out of it, like, But in situations like that, it's tough. It's like, it's all situation dependent. So like, there's no one recipe for that. Like, it's, you got to come up with your own ingredients and like make it as, as appealing as possible, whether it be removing some contingencies, like, you know, I always like to keep the loan. Like, if I remove anything else, I'm always keeping the loan. Like, we want to keep our finances. Like, inspections, like, if you have a friend that's a contractor or something like that, invite them over. Like, invite them to see the house with you. Like, hey, like, do you see anything that I don't see? Like, I'm not a contractor. Like, do you see anything that's a red flag? Would you feel comfortable removing contingencies on this? Like, this could be your hack. Like, you know, before you have an inspector, have someone that's in that trade and knows the world. Like, you okay with this? And then maybe you feel a little bit more confident. Yeah.
I swear it was my last question, but
Yeah, no worries.
I know you're talking about you like work around the clock, and you're doing this, and you're doing that, you're trying to find like that happy medium of work-life balance, but with you working full-time and then doing this basically full-time, have you ever had to like have someone step in and really help you, maybe like at open house, or like maybe step in for you, or do you always just do it on your own and just make it work?
For the most part, I'll make it work. Show it to, like, you know, I would just show up.
Yeah.
Whether I'm like an hour of sleep, 2 hours of sleep, like I've showed up here in my scrubs. I've gone off work, came here, 7 in the morning, like opened up the office. I see Eric walking in like all bright and bushy eyed. I was like, dude, I just got off a 13-hour shift, and like Eric's like, ah. Yeah. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you have to be in tune with your own body. Like I've done this, I've worked as a nurse for 10 years. I know what grinding for 12-hour shifts for 10 years is like, and I'm used to that. I'm used to that lifestyle. That's a part of me now. Like, what I learned from Vegas, is actually one of the gems I always took away. Like, this work-life balance, that doesn't exist. This is what one of these like top producers, like, you know, set 8-figure earners was talking about. There's no such thing as work-life balance. It's work-life harmony. Like, this is now your new entity. This is now your new entity. Now you are, you know, I don't know what other job you have, or like.
It's they say work-life balance, but I pretty much
It's a myth.
around the clock, right?
Yeah.
Because I work remote, so that's why I was asking about how you balance it out. So it sounds like if I do both, I'm gonna be working 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on how.
Yeah.
It all depends on how bad you want it, and like, you know what.
It depends on the results that you get.
And what you're looking, yeah.
Right? 'Cause what you put in is what you get out. So
Yeah, what you put in is,
the results that you have to
Right.
time.
yeah, you put in what you get out.
100% of the results, you're going to put 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
That's the thing about like being 1099 is
Yeah.
this is up to you guys.
Yeah.
This is up to everybody. Everybody has different goals and ways they want to live, and you'll see some people go crazy, some people that don't, but you see different results.
for sure. Like, I mean, I'm, you know, fortunate to be in a position where I have a career where I only work 3 days one week and 2 days the other week. I'm off for a week I'm off for a week twice a month. Sorry, yeah, I'm off for a week twice a month. So I don't even work overtime at the hospital anymore. I would rather like spend my time doing this. Like, I would make more doing this than I do like staying over like 4 more hours, like a pay period, and like be beat to death and like tired. I'd rather do this. This is fun. Like,
Would you quit your job as a nurse?
no. I've heard this question multiple times. Like, they're like, I've had multiple lenders. They're like, hey, so when are you going full-time real estate? I was like, never, dude. Like, I'm always working. Like, I was like, would you ever like leave nursing? Yeah. So it's like I'm doing like full-time numbers. Like, but it's like they always ask me like, so when are you stepping away from the bedside? I was like, dude, why? Like, my question to them is like, why would I? Like, I mean, I'm in a good position where I only work 3 days a week. My schedule is clutch. I have full like 100% covered like lightly, you know, health insurance. I get paid, you know, great money.
See, that's why I don't
Like,
are you crazy?
yeah.
But I do want to do this, and I do love real estate. So
Yeah, so just, you know, you'll find what works out for you. Like, for me, it's like, you know, I got health insurance, 401k, a pension. Like, so why would I leave that job? I've worked my butt off to get to where I wanted to be,
right, me too.
and I love helping like patients. Like I feel like it actually makes me a better nurse. Like when I work overtime, 60 plus hours, 70 hours, like I feel like at the end of the month I would be like tired, drained, like maybe even a little grouchy. Like you know, I would just. But I'm not, you know, but I think now it makes me even a better nurse because now I'm happy. I found the happiness again in my career because COVID was draining. It was, while the world was like locked up, we were in there grinding in the hospital. You might get COVID. People were dying. Like it was some dark times. It was, but now I've found like that light at the end of the tunnel.
Hey, Hector's not going anywhere. Yeah. He's always here. He has a phone call, cell phone, and stuff like that. So you guys, like now you know a little bit more of who he is.
Yeah, this is me.
Always reach out. But it's the same way. Like you want to know how to get offers accepted, you got to call us before you do something.
Yeah, I'm happy to sit down.
That's how you're gonna get offers accepted. Like,
Yeah.
Every time. So, man, I think Hector did an awesome job. First time.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, thank you guys for showing up. I mean, obviously, Bill, I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Like, you gave me the opportunity to come join this team. I would see you guys on social media when I was on my other team. I was like, man, like that team looks awesome. But then like, I was like, how do I, like, you know, I don't want to burn any bridges. It's like I was like my first year on the other team, and I was like, you know, I don't want to just dip. I always like when I do something, I'm almost committed, and I at least want to give it 5 years. But like realistically, it's like I already grinded, I already have a career. Like I don't have to give them an excuse. Like for my personal growth in regards to like the real estate market, I was like, or real estate as a whole, I was like, I already did my time as a nurse. Like I can choose what I want to do as a real estate because I'm like, I already have a career. Like I don't need to be here. Like I can go somewhere else and like that somewhere where it aligns with my like vision, my future goals. So I mean, we're still best friends. Like I still keep in contact with the other team. Like, you know, I left them on I closed the San Francisco deal before I joined you. That's why it took a while because I was like, all right, I'm going to close the San Francisco deal with them and leave on a good note. And here I am.
Hell yeah, man. Hey, glad to have you. Excited to help you grow.
I'm excited. Thank you guys. Yeah, I mean, like you know, I was in that chair. This could be you. Like, you know, I'm excited to see your guys' masterclass like someday because we're always learning from each other. Like I always learn from all you guys. Like, you know. That's it.
Hey, we got some action here.